I'm Emily Nicholas from the Panther Press, and today I'm sitting down with Dr. Cathy Keegan to talk about her career as the superintendent at the Milton Area School District. How long have you worked at Milton, or when did you start?
So I was actually hired at the Milton School Board meeting on April 19th in 2010. My start date was June 1st, 2010. So this is my 11th year as your superintendent.
All right, when are you planning on retiring?
I am planning on retiring on September 13th, 2022.
All right. So before you were superintendent, where did you go to college?
I attended a lot of colleges. I started with my associate's degree at the Lehigh Carbon Community College, and then I went to Cedar Crest College. From Cedar Crest College, I attended Penn State for my principal's certificate. I also attended Lehigh University, and I just recently graduated from Immaculata University.
All right. So what degrees did you get?
It's a great question because you'll see that there's a progression of degrees that I earned throughout my career, which often education demands. So when I went to the Lehigh Carbon Community College, I got a degree, an associate's degree in liberal arts. And then from there, I went to Cedar Crest College, and while I was at Cedar Crest, I earned a degree in English. So I have a bachelor's degree in English, and I have a secondary teaching certification from Cedar Crest College. I also minored in psychology. Then I attended Penn State, and I received my principal's certificate. I went back to Lehigh University, getting my master's degree in secondary education. I also got my curriculum instruction supervision certificate and my superintendent's letter of eligibility. And then I attended Immaculata University, where I got my doctorate in educational leadership.
So what job or jobs did you have before you became superintendent at Milton?
When I was hired at Milton, I was employed at the Carbon Lehigh Intermediate Unit as their assistant and executive director. But in my career, I taught high school English. I started by teaching 12th grade English at Allentown Central Catholic. And then I taught at Northern Lehigh. I taught public speaking, drama, theater arts, and then English to 10th and 11th graders. Then I left the classroom and I went to the intermediate unit. While I was at the intermediate unit, I was an educational consultant. I became the coordinator of non-public schools, which I took care of 45 non-public schools. Then I moved into curriculum and instruction and educational technologies. I was the director of curriculum and instruction and educational technologies, and then I was promoted to their assistant executive director.
So why did you decide to apply to Milton?
After about 10 years at the intermediate unit, I really wanted to become a part of a school community again. If you know anything about intermediate units, you really don't have a home base. You don't have a faculty. You don't have a student population. And I miss being part of a school community. So when I started to think about what kind of school district would be a good fit for me, and I would be a good fit for this school district, I looked at a smaller community. I was raised in a very small community. I specifically was looking at school size, around 2,000, 2,500 kids. I also was interested in community demographics, and then would there be an opportunity to serve as an advocate for others? And Milton was one of those communities that really seemed like a perfect fit for me as a school leader.
So what qualifications did you have for the job?
I thought about that long and hard because I transitioned from an intermediate unit to a school district, and when I was in a school district, I was a classroom teacher, which I really loved my job. But then I realized that I started in administration in 2005. So when I joined the Milton team in 2010, I already had 5 years of leadership. And so I considered some of the different types of leadership I had. So I understand non-public schools and the services that you need to provide to non-public schools. I understood quality professional development and evidence-based professional development in my role as a director of curriculum and instruction. And then school operations was primarily my job when I was the assistant executive director and the supervision of staff. So all of those experiences and skills, I believe, really helped me to lead our district the last 10 or 11 years.
So what are the duties of your job here?
I laughed at that because I said, geez, what isn't my job? A long time ago, I visited President Truman's house in Key West, and on his desk he has a sign that says, "The buck stops here." So when you ask me what are the duties of my job, I would say everything that happens in this school district, from programming to finances, supervision of staff, school safety, anything that happens within the four walls of our school district becomes the responsibility of the superintendent with the help of the board of directors.
So when you started, what goals did you have for the school district?
We had 2 goals, and in my historical look back, I saw that the 2 goals that I began my career in Milton in 2010, 2011, carried us through as a school district through the school years of 2013, 2014. The first goal was looking at the educational environment, which would actively serve the whole child and all members of the Milton community. And the second goal was to ensure that all students were provided a learning environment that results in optimal student achievement and personal growth.
So do you feel you met those goals? If so, how?
I do believe we met those goals, but the goals were met with the help of a lot of people, from administration to faculty to students. And as we unpacked each of those goals, I can talk about some of the changes that this school district has realized over time because of all the people in our school community. For example, we have school leadership teams, we have faculty committees, we have administration that have individual professional goals that work towards these goals. But some of the examples that I can talk about would be the Panther Pantry, the Panther Packs, and the food insecurity that our school population faces. Also, how we can best meet an academic and behavioral and social and emotional wellness needs. So little by little, over a period of 10 years, or almost 11, I believe that we've attacked these goals and we've met them and we've made great progress.
So what are some important changes you made to the school district?
Which ties back to your last question about the original goals of the school district. So some of the important changes, we really moved to a community school model. We look at nutrition, wellness and fitness, mental health, food insecurity, the multi-tiered system of support for all students. We have partnered with community providers to make counseling available to students without having to leave the school building. This year, Geisinger has provided us with a mobile dentist unit. So that's a huge shift for us in moving into a full-blown community schools model. We also, during COVID and all the work that we had done leading up to COVID, we were seen as a regional and state leader in the digital conversion and the one-to-one initiative. We have the virtual academy that our students graduate with the Milton diploma. We started with building effective schools, and out of that, we opened up a Facebook account We have Twitter accounts, we have Instagram accounts, and our webpage is robust. Constantly working on safe schools. I could go on and on at what I see as accomplishments of this school district. Look outside at that renovation of the athletic complex. That was last touched in 1947, and here we are. You guys will realize some real beautiful places to compete and to have school events.
So how do you feel about your progress over the years?
You know, tongue in cheek, I can say to you that I'm exhausted and I'm ready to retire, but I'm proud of all the many accomplishments that we have done together. A leader is only as good as the people that are surrounding him or her. And I have to say that I'm surrounded by some of the smartest and amazing people I know. It's because of them that I was able to identify just a part of a list of important changes that happened in this school district. Although not complete, amazing work will continue.
So what's your favorite memory from your career here at Milton?
That was a difficult question, and I couldn't limit it to just one. There were several. Probably one of my most moving memories or moments was the graduation of 2019. In the middle of the pandemic, we had a class that deserved a celebration of graduation. And when we moved the graduation outside to that athletic complex, and families were able to witness their child receive their diploma up close and personal, there were so many tears, so much gratitude for the opportunity to see their child graduate. It was a very moving night for me as a superintendent. Our opening day this year was pretty special with our staff. We knew that people had not been together for a while as a whole school community, so we had a carnival. And we just had a great time that morning together, and that was a great memory for me.
So what's your least favorite memory?
You're gonna laugh. You'll get a chuckle out of this one. It's the 4-letter word called mold. And I'm just gonna leave it at that. But that was by far my least favorite memory.
So what's your favorite thing about this job?
I think being with kids, walking out the door and talking to kids and seeing kids and hearing kids. We have some wonderful faculty and employees. I know that our school district has an influence in building a strong and thriving community in Milton. We're getting the next generation ready, and I think that is one of my most favorite things about my work.
So, what's the hardest part about this job?
There's no decision that I can make that will make all the stakeholders happy. And I had to learn over time not to personalize it, but to rather know that the decision that was made was good for the faculty, the students, and the community.
What will you miss the most?
I chuckled at this as well because most superintendents would tell you it's getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning to make weather calls. But it is probably the one thing I won't miss. But on a positive side, I had really great support in that decision making. Our township supervisors were a part of the decision making, along with our transportation coordinator and our transportation contractor. So even though it was the least favorite part of my job, and I won't miss it, I will tell you that I met some really great people.
So why did you decide to retire?
I tell everybody when I entered the superintendency, I was single and I had 2 children. And now 10 years later, I'm married and I have 2 stepdaughters, 2 sons. I have 2 son-in-laws, a daughter-in-law. I have 5 grandchildren and a husband. So it's time to prioritize my family. They deserve me and the attention I can give them. I also want to travel with my husband. We like to fish the Intercoastal Waterway in Florida. I would love to have time to just sit and talk with my adult children for hours on end and play with my grandchildren whenever I want. And retirement will afford me those opportunities.
So, what's the process for finding a replacement?
The board of directors is responsible for hiring a superintendent. So truly, they will lead the superintendent search process. It will be their decision on how they want to move forward with the best way to facilitate the process. One, they could choose to do the search process themselves. There are some intermediate units that offer superintendent search processes, and there's also consultants. So it will be the board of directors' decision on how they want to proceed.
So, what are your plans after retirement?
I want to plant a garden. I want to water it and watch it grow and then reap the benefits of whatever it produces. I talked about fishing in the Intercoastal Waterway in Florida. It'll be fun to read for pleasure again. I'm an English teacher. We love to read, but right now I don't really have time to read for pleasure. I'd like to buy a beach house at some point and learn how to throw pottery and do some stained glass. I talked about spending quality time with my family. As a superintendent, you're always tethered to your phone or to your email, and this would allow the opportunity that I won't have to worry about my phone, or if there's a crisis or I need to be readily available, that I'll have some time to be with my husband and my family. I also have a bucket list, as many people do, but I looked at that as well when you sent your questions through. And I want to visit places like seeing the Aurora Borealis and go to Ireland and see Mount Rushmore and Jackson Hole, visit San Marcos and St. Simon's Islands. Just have the time to be able to go and really enjoy such beautiful places.
All right, well, that's all the questions I have. Thank you for sitting down with us today.
And you're welcome. Thanks for asking me.